in November, we went to the press and did a press event. We invited, there was 400 journalists that talked about green bubbles, blue bubbles, unified messaging, all the messaging apps in general, 400 journalists. We invited them all to a press event just saying, hey, we're about to announce Sunbird messaging. It's solving bullying issues. It's solving green bubble shaming issues. It's solving encryption issues, right? It's solving antitrust issues. It's solving all of these issues, right? And so we did this event, and it kind of did go viral pretty quickly. 50,000 people joined the wait list within, a couple of days.
You are listening to Power Marketing with Kevin Lee. Kevin and his agency Did It have helped thousands of businesses win through superior marketing, as have his books, articles, speaking engagements, and the E-Marketing Association Power Marketing podcasts. Here's Kevin.
I'm super excited to have Danny Mizrahi on today because I've known him for ages, even before he started his latest venture, which is the Sunbird messaging app. And I'm sure a lot of folks do not know what the Sunbird messaging app is. So what's your elevator pitch for the Sunbird messaging app? I know it, but you can do it better.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, Kevin. So there's this massive pent-up demand for Androids and iPhones to speak to each other better, encryption, reactions, and high-res videos, pictures, etc. And so we solved that by creating an app that puts any messaging app inside of Sunbird, right? So Sunbird is an app aggregator, but the first app that we put inside of Sunbird was iMessage. And we also have WhatsApp and Facebook in there today, but after that, it'll be Telegram, Signal, Instagram DMs, LinkedIn, Teams, Spaces, Slack channels, any end-to-end encryption protocol. We're able to keep it encrypted, have it come into Sunbird. It's an app aggregator, right? And I could even show it to you because, it's hard to visualize sometimes, but this is the Sunbird app, and you'll see there's iMessages, there's Sunbird messages, and by the way, people love gold bubble Sunbird messaging, right? And then there's iMessage groups, and then there's WhatsApp groups and WhatsApp singles, and so it's an app aggregator at the end of the day. But the hottest topic right now is getting blue bubbles on your Android and solving that massive problem.
Yeah, and I noticed the color coding, right? So people are very visual, right? And they may want to be able to sort and filter because
Totally.
A lot of them use different messaging apps for different purposes. And sometimes, like, some are mostly business, some are mostly friends, some of them are acquaintances. And, so have people given you feedback that color coding really helps them utilize a central inbox even better?
Absolutely. The interface is awesome, and it's actually about to be better because we're going to be releasing the next version with the Material You design with Google, so it just adapts to any Android phone, and we're really excited about that next one. But also the bubble colors. So Android has a very specific green, and the chat bubbles for SMS and Android and soon to be RCS. We definitely would absolutely love access to RCS. And actively working on the certifications it requires to get that, our privacy service certifications, ISO 27001, ISO 27701 specifically. So the chat bubbles in Android are green Android. The chat bubbles in WhatsApp are WhatsApp green, blue bubbles for iPhone, and so on and so forth. And then on the thread view screen, you have all the icons right there. And people do love it. And then Sunbird messaging is gold bubble messaging, which is fun in the alpha community because we have this probably 20,000 people in our Discord already, and they're the ones getting the product early for alpha testing, and they've been amazing. We love that community. The feedback from them has been incredible. But they love the gold bubbles too. And they're like, we have the language of the gods, and it's so cool, and all these memes about it, right? So
Right.
It's been great.
Yeah, and this is the kind of app that has a lot of viral potential, but yet that doesn't necessarily mean you don't put any marketing dollars behind it, especially when you're sort of trying to catalyze initial use or get specific types of groups using it, as opposed to whoever comes in over the transom on a viral basis. So how have you guys thought through that marketing plan from a paid media perspective, from an earned media perspective,
Sure.
and how do you expect that to change when it comes out of beta?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had some pretty awesome success. So in November, we went to the press and did a press event. We invited, you know there was 400 journalists that talked about green bubbles, blue bubbles, unified messaging, all the messaging apps in general. 400 journalists. We invited them all to a press event, just saying, "Hey, we're about to announce Sunbird messaging. It's solving bullying issues. It's solving green bubble shaming issues. It's solving encryption issues, right? It's solving antitrust issues. It's solving all of these issues, right?" And so we did this event, and it kind of did go viral pretty quickly. 50,000 people joined the wait list within, a couple of days. Right now, the wait list is at 123,000 plus. It grows by about 1,000 people a day right now. And today it's all virality because we shut off paid advertising. Why did we shut off paid advertising? Because when we hit 100,000 people on the wait list in 4 months, we were spending a good amount of money in paid ads. We got the customer acquisition cost on Facebook. Yeah, granted, it's a waitlist user, but regardless, it was 60 cents on Meta and $1.40 on TikTok. These numbers were phenomenal, right? And then the conversion rate today on the website is 34.1. I'm looking at it right now. 123,000 signups, 123,231 signups, 34.1 conversion rate. When people come to the Sunbird website, they read, Blue Bubbles on your Android, and they read about app aggregation. You know marketing better than me, but people are like, "Oh, do you mean 3.4%?" And I'm like, no, 34%, and are converting and signing up for the wait list. And when I say 60 cents customer acquisition cost on Meta, it's actually better than that. It's 1.236 users. We have a 23.6% virality. People are referring their friends 23.6% of the time. So we shut paid ads off after we hit 100,000 because we've proven the model. We've proven the model for Gen Z. We've proven the model for millennials, right? After that, it's, we haven't really been targeting it. But that's been, now it's just, and then in terms of your other question, we're going to turn that back on. And look, we're looking to raise a Series A that's going to be pretty big, and we're looking to spend a lot of money on paid ads. And then between that and the fact that, we just did a launch in India for 47 publications on Wednesday morning at 4 a.m. I had to do a PR event at 4 a.m. obviously because it's India time. But each territory has their own issues. Like, for example, in Japan, every single person uses a messaging app called Line. Line is the primary messaging, and the marketing there is very different. We're going to do the same type of event because we've proven it works. And the marketing there is, don't you wish you had Line with iMessage, WhatsApp, Facebook, et cetera, right? So that's how we're going to go when we do the launch, but one thing at a time. And really, solving the green bubble, blue bubble pain, the encryption pain, and all that in the US, UK, and Australia is the low-hanging fruit because that's where the most iPhones are and the most 50-50 split. The rest of the world is really predominantly Android.
Interesting. So in those portions of the world where it's predominantly Android, maybe because of disposable income issues or wealth issues, is there sort of a desire to sort of join the Apple environment? Is that part of what they want to do?
The new iMessage users?
Yeah,
it's been awesome. I mean, there's this presumption that Apple would, for some reason, not like Sunbird. I'm in complete disagreement with that. I believe, and I have reason to believe that they're absolutely going to and do love what we're doing. First of all, we're creating encryption where there is none. Second of all, they're getting heat on antitrust in the European Union, in the US, et cetera. We believe that they're going to be a great partner here. I mean, the way that the invention is working, we don't need APIs or connections, et cetera. It's just using the native authentication, which is part of the beauty and the elegance of the invention. Remember when you first got Outlook and you added your Yahoo and your Gmail and your AOL? And yeah, I'm old enough, as you can probably tell by the bald head, that I had an AOL address back in the day. But it's the same idea. It's really a thin client. It's called in tech speak, right? And similar to like an Outlook. So that's what Sunbird is. But anyway, we've been talking to our alpha testers. Obviously, we're creating thousands and thousands and thousands, and soon to be millions of Apple IDs. Right? They're creating their Apple IDs because they want to be, and then they're part of the ecosystem. They're getting the advertisements. They're signing up for Apple TV. I signed up for Apple TV because I wanted to watch Ted Lasso, and now I finally have an Apple ID, so now I have it on my TV too, right? So there's no scenario where I think that iPhones are going to have a shortage of people to sell to. Apple just opened up their 20,000 square foot office in Mumbai this week. They're going to sell a lot of iPhones. I don't think we're going to be a problem for them, but we're adding all these Android users to their infrastructure as well. So we have no reason to believe that they're not absolutely going to love us, and we love them.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's almost like you remove some of the friction for people making the transition from Android to iPhone because they'll have their idea ready if they want to do that.
We want to unify messaging, right? We want everyone to be able to message each other, right? That's the end of that. That's the bottom line. We want it to be easily searchable between, someone says, oh, actually, an investor said to us, he was like, I missed a message in my Facebook Messenger when someone really needed me. Right. It was a very specific moment and that person really needed me. And I never saw that message because I don't check Facebook Messenger. I haven't in a long time. Well, you just connect Facebook Messenger to Sunbird and now you get that message as well. You don't miss those messages from people who, look, I have an aunt that only, texts me on Facebook Messenger too. Right. Everyone's got that one or two. Right. So we want to just make sure that the world is unified in terms of just make sure you get your messages. And it is a cool interface because it's completely searchable between the messaging as well.
Right. So for those folks, I mean, I happen to be an investor, so I'm super excited about your trajectory. But folks may be curious, is the plan to remain free? Is the plan to have a two-tiered pricing model so that people, who want the more sophisticated features maybe are paying and other folks are free?
I mean, we always wanted this app to be as free as long as possible, and that's part of the VC world and the community, and our institutional investors and angels that are in that community. Please keep it as free as possible for as long as possible. We just want the users. I mean, the LTV, the long-term value, and we're talking to marketing people, so it probably LTV of the user in a messaging app is huge, right? I mean, the lowest one was $31 for WhatsApp, right? When they sold for $20 billion, but you have Telegram at something like $80 long-term value. You have Line at $55. You have Snapchat at $160, LTV of a user for a free app, right? And a lot of those never had monetization strategy. WhatsApp never had a monetization strategy at all, right? We do want to keep it free. We do want to do a premium model where you can unlock the rest of the apps. So 5 apps for free. And if you want to add 5 more, it's going to be a small monthly fee. We have some awesome premium features that we're releasing for Sunbird users that I don't really want to give the secret sauce out yet because I don't want another messaging company to start creating them. But we have some really cool features, whether they're ChatGPT or FaceTime on Android or whatever it is. That could be a smaller monthly fee, let's call it 99 cents or something like that, and then something like $2.99 to unlock everything, right? We also have other monetization strategies. We have multiple licensing deals being discussed right now. We have multiple Android manufacturers that really want to do the same thing, which is get this in the hands of more Gen Z, right? The green bubble, blue bubble issue with Gen Z is insane. Right. So, if you have, teenagers, they're not really allowed. There's a lot of articles written about this. Actually, Phone Arena did a great article recently about Sunbird solving these bullying issues. Wall Street Journal did a massive issue about green bubble shaming, right? An article. But the Phone Arena one from the other day about Sunbird solving bullying was pretty cool. But if you're a teenager, you're not allowed in the group chat. You're just not allowed in the group chat because you break the group chat for everyone kind of thing. So for Gen Z, it's a pretty big issue right now. So we're happy to solve that.
Yeah, well, I'll have to get my 17-year-old daughter and perhaps my 14-year-old son on the app as well. My son actually, he's on iPhone, but my daughter is an Android.
Nice. So. We love her. We got to get her doing a TikTok.
She was the one who brought up the fact that she didn't understand why a person would pay 60% more for fashionability on a phone. So,
I like her. You've raised her well. She's good people. I like that.
So yeah, but it is really fascinating to see how much more sort of emotional layer there is right into something as simple as messaging and the communities of messaging and how this essentially democratizes messaging.
Yeah, and also, as Apple expands to other parts of the world, like what they're doing in India right now, they moved the manufacturing there as well. Some of these cities are going to start to see that as well, and we just want to be there to ease that transition a little bit.
Right.
Again, Apple's not going to have a shortage of people to sell phones to in India, right? Whatever phones they make, they will sell, right?
Right.
So I'm not worried about their sales. But we do want to make sure that everyone can communicate, well with each other, right? And encryption is huge. Converting back to SMS between Android and iPhone is a problem, right? It's a 30-year-old technology. There's no encryption. So we can't have that.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, when I've talked to advertisers and marketers about doing any kind of platform-specific advertising, whether it's app-based platforms or web-based platforms or thereabouts, usually, other than pure direct response marketing, the brand marketers usually they're like, oh well, if they haven't reached a platform size of 5 million US users, it's like too small for me to bother doing the paperwork. So are you going to sort of wait to monetize via advertising until you reach sort of that critical mass where you can actually have a really cool reach?
We don't plan on making money on advertising. It's part of our ethos. We don't store data. So one of the amazing parts of the invention, this is incredible, and this was probably the biggest challenge when creating the app that we gave to the team, and they nailed it, is that when we're relaying these messages through our servers, in the same nanosecond as the relay, it's being purged. And that's part of the patent that we filed as well. We have multiple patents that we filed, right? But when it's relaying through the servers, it's being purged on every single piece of data. The usernames, the passwords, the messages, the videos, the photos, purged. We have no plans to use user data whatsoever. My background, this, but people watching don't probably know that I own a cybersecurity compliance company and an IT company, and the compliance company is all about GDPR and HIPAA and CCPA in California, and that's why we're aiming for our ISO 27701, not just the ISO 27001, but 27701. It's sort of like GDPR, but more international standard. So that's our goal there for sure.
Right. Yeah. Well, obviously, being a marketer, I would be excited. There was a way to do it right in such a way that it wasn't intrusive.
There are. But the thing is, Kevin, that people are flocking, and I know that's a bird pun, so forgive me, but people are flocking towards Signal right now because of privacy, security, and confidentiality. Right? People really like Snapchat was another one that quote unquote didn't store data. So there's this movement on privacy, and it's not just at a government level; it's a user level, right? So we want to. It's not that we're not trying to take advantage of that movement. We are part of that movement, right? Like we believe in that too.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's really more a matter of when there's full transparency and there's the possibility of potentially a quid pro quo where if you'd like to opt in for something, maybe it's cheaper, right? Mm-hmm. It's
so that right there, that's a perfect example of a premium feature. And so by not storing data, guess what kind of issues you have? Open synchronization, right? Think about the app. If you're not storing data, how do you put it on another phone or another device, right? Or what happens if you lose your phone? What happens to your messages? So as part of those premium features, we are planning on offering a subscription for backup and synchronization. And in that event, we would store data.
Right.
Now, use data for advertising. I'm not going to go there yet. That's not our plan yet. But we do believe there's a certain amount of users that are going to want us to, quote unquote, store the data, of course, in a secure and encrypted environment, constantly doing penetration testing and ethical hacking on that environment, right? Because I know that space quite well. But that is, we are planning on making that a premium feature for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I still, perhaps, 30 years after starting in advertising, I still believe that there's the possibility to delight people with relevant advertising.
I agree.
That probably only happens 2% of the time for the ads you and I get exposed to every day.
Right,
but every once in a while, you'll see an ad and you'll be like, oh, that's really cool. Or I might buy that, right? It happens too infrequently, right? And unfortunately, that's at odds with the idea that you store more information because you need more information
Sure.
on an informative opt-in basis in order to delight the people. Because if you have no idea
Right.
what they like, it's harder to delight them, right? Yeah, then you end up giving everybody the same ads, which in the case of the Super Bowl works fine, right?
Right.
The folks who advertise on the Super Bowl are the folks that advertise against the mass market, right?
Right.
And so that, maybe that's where it is, where just because, maybe it's less relevant or less niche, but it's more general marketers who end up on the platform at some point. Who knows if you
Yeah,
ever
you know
turn
what?
that on.
Me and you are going to probably constantly be talking about that as we grow.
Absolutely.
I hear you.
So for those folks who are sort of thinking about in general, when they're as marketers asking for affirmative opt-in of a consumer, because obviously a lot of these apps, particularly SMS, right? Marketers are asking for permission relationships, and they'll hit you up on your desktop or phone-based landing page at that retailer, for example, and try to incent you with discounts if you give your email address, if you opt into their SMS list. So you guys are still going to be sort of becoming the conduit, right, for those messages which come in through whichever of the multiple channels have been opted into. But have you in your user conversations, have you gotten any vibe from folks as to whether or not it'll work the same way as it does in email, which is in email, right? People have this is my spam account. Like, I just use this to sign up for stuff, but like, it's not my legit email address. Do you feel like the same thing might happen with one of the channels that's in Sunbird, where people will be like, oh yeah, that's where my promotional messages go?
Well, and that's fine. And so we have features for that, right? So the best example of that is LinkedIn for me personally, because I get 20, I have multiple companies, so I'm like a target, a target for a lot of salespeople, right?
Yeah,
and so are you
and me both. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I get about 20 a day in terms of spam. And so when we bring LinkedIn into Sunbird, which, hopefully sooner than later, right? We're going to have that. We're going to have any app have a folder view option where you don't see it in the main thread view, but you can click into it, right? So certainly that's already being built into the app natively for every messaging app. And then and same in the same token, when you install the app, you can pick, do you want it in the thread view or folder view? And then the second thing is, do you want it notifications turned on globally or not globally? We already have a feature where you can mute notifications on an individual thread for any of the platforms. But when you set it up, it'll give you an option on if you want global muting or not. I love it that I'm at the point now where I've muted my WhatsApp, the whole app, because everything that's coming into Sunbird, I could just see the notifications there, So that was a cool point for me, Yeah.
I think a lot of marketers don't realize how much higher the permission bar is for anything SMS like, or any one of its brethren, right? With regards to, the way they message their customers, right? A lot of them don't realize that it really has to be hyper relevant, because, you'll get the barrier for unsubscription is much lower with any of the SMS channels. And I think a lot of marketers learn that the hard way. They'll end up, even though they have the affirmative opt-in from the consumer, they'll then end up spamming them with stuff. Certainly politicians have not learned that, because if you ever end up on any political list, forget it. Your inbox is going to be flooded. Your SMS inbox is going to be flooded.
Yeah, I've spammed those so many times, and they just keep coming back for more. It's incredible. But, I will say, to your point, we're building trust right now with the world and the community. A lot of people, like, we have skeptics and doubters, and of course, some of it's fair, some of it's really motivating, and I have some on the wall, because those are my favorites. But I will say that, some people are creating like burner accounts for iMessage and WhatsApp, et cetera, because WhatsApp is tougher because of the phone, but because they don't trust us yet, and that's fine. Right? Like, we'll build that trust. We'll get our certification. We'll keep speaking about it. I mean, the inventor, Garen, he's the technical lead, and, he has 20 years in fintech before 10 plus years in messaging, right? I own a cybersecurity compliance company that we have pen testers and ethical hackers. And, So that is our space. But who are we? Like, why would people believe us until we keep proving it, right? It's fine.
Right.
We get it.
Yep. Well, I love the fact that they'll be able to try it and get on the wait list. When do you expect to be able to open the floodgates and hit that Frankenstein switch and
We're excited.
take all those pent up users and get them live?
Late summer is the plan. I mean, if they want the app now, they sign up for the wait list, they get an email, they get welcome to the Discord if they want to jump into Discord, and then they could be in the next wave of alpha testers. Right now, we're doing 2,000 people at a time. We're learning about the back end. We're learning about the scalability. The goal is in late summer, we're going to launch, and we are pretty confident we're going to have 1 million downloads a day. At 1 million downloads a day, you really need to know what you're doing. And we know what we're doing, but we're testing it every step of the way. That's why now it's about bulk user downloads at the same time. And so that's the plan right now. And we're actually going to create a mechanism that it shuts off at X users per day, even at the public launch. So cap it at 1 million users per day. We're already, doing that. And then, which by the way, won't be the worst PR. We can only do right. It won't be the worst PR, conversation to have. But yeah, this is our plan. But you know what Mike Tyson says, right? Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right? So
right, yeah.
But we believe in our team. Our team is just absolutely incredible. So we believe in our team, and we know we're going to get it done.
So if folks want to get on the wait list, which domain should they go to?
Sunbirdapp.com, and actually that brings up a great point. There's a lot of fake apps in the App Store. And by the way, that's very flattering. But there's a lot of fake apps in the App Store called Sunbird. And if you download them, malware, spam, etc., we're constantly asking Google to take them down, and they have been. But there are fake apps in the App Store. You can't see the app in the App Store unless you're assigned alpha status. So it's not there unless we give you the ability to download it. It's in the App Store. It's just we have to unlock it for you. So we do want to make sure people know not to download those. And really just go to sunbirdapp.com, sign up for the wait list, and everything kind of free flows from there. And if you want to come to Discord, we'll get you into the next wave or two.
Great. Well, it was great catching up, and thanks for giving us a view into a startup right at the beginning of its hockey stick, because that's super exciting.
So much fun, and thank you for your support as well.
My pleasure.
Kevin Lee's Power Marketing is available on all your favorite podcast networks. Kevin loves helping businesses excel at marketing. Having marketing challenges? Just like Santa in The Miracle on 34th Street, if Kevin can't help you, he'll know someone who can. Find him on LinkedIn, subscribe, or follow.